Here we are, new year. What I'm doing is putting glacial rock dust and alfalfa mix inside some fruit like apples and pears and stuff. What I'm doing next to the middle of the bed, each bed, I'm going to be burying that, wait for it to decompose and bring worms into my beds. I always have an abundance of worms, but will attract them. So I'm mixing crab meal, and that's some green sand and some glacial rock dust. I got alfalfa meal, domonite lime, insect frass, and granular humic acid. So we're going to be mixing all that together. If you do this mix outside especially, watch out for the dust that flies. You don't want to inhale that stuff, or you don't want it blown in your face. So make sure you know where the wind's going. So I'm going to be mixing that pretty good together. Then I'm going to be dropping it on each bed. See how the wind's blowing away from me. And if it does blow into your face, make sure you hold your breath. Earlier this year, I had to take care of a vole because somehow he got into the raised bed. So I took care of him. And we're addressing our beds. A little late, but with 3 bags of chicken manure, a bag and a half of worm castings, and then there's those 3 bags of booze blend compost, and then 2.5 bags of the 3.5 bags of the Seacoast compost. And we're going to be starting with the chicken manure. And with the chicken manure, we're going to be just dropping it directly into the actual beds and not the bridges, because I only have 3 bags. I did have a little late start this year, but we're on the move on it. I'm going to be starting my seeds next. I did have a late start on my seeds, but they're going to move. Okay, first it was chick manure. Now I'm going to be dropping the worm castings. And that also goes in just the beds. And then we're going to spread it out evenly. Alright, next we're going to be doing the compost. And for the compost, we're going to be using the booze blend, and we're going to fill the bridges and the beds with the compost. So we're going to fill everything with the compost. So the right side of the garden is going to be the booze blend, and the left side is going to be the Seacoast. The booze blend actually came with worms in it. Usually it doesn't, but this time I seen worms in it, so that's good. A little way to bring worms into your garden. Not including this property that I'm growing on has an abundance of red worms, red wigglers, and night crawlers that are huge, and earthworms, but the most worms we do have are the red ones, which are the best. We got a pretty good rain this year, and I got all 4 of my 275-gallon tubs full to the rim, ready to water. So I'm throwing the last bag of compost. I'm going to be covering all the beds. As you can see, the booze blend a little brown, so you can kind of tell where the booze blend ends and where the Seacoast begins. And then here's the Seacoast, a little bit darker compost. And even if you're not dropping compost and you just have soil, you definitely want to throw something to protect it, something that the sun won't dry out, so the organic matter could on top of your soil won't dry, or if you have compost it won't dry. But it's good to throw like hay, like I'm doing. I have an abundance of hay, so that's why I'm using hay. But you could use leaves. You could even use types of weeds and or leaves. I gotta go collect leaves so I can make some leaf compost. That's really one of the best compost you can use is the leaf compost. Or instead of the rock dust, you can use leaves. It definitely has more minerals and it's much better for the environment. Actually, is to use leaves instead of any type of rock dust. And well, here's the finishing product. And definitely, we're going to be having a mixture of when we put our plants in. So next video, stay tuned for the seed starting. I haven't decided what seeds I'm going to start, but I will.